All right. A few minutes after, if you've just joined, again, my name is Candace Davis, and I'm with Swipe Out Hunger, the network community manager. And lots of you might have seen me before, but if not, I'm glad you're here today. We do these swipe sessions every month, and we're so grateful to have the topic today about scaling fundraising or scalable fundraising, joined by Tackle Hunger, Allison Reese. Super excited to hear from Allison and Allison's amazing expertise. If you haven't already, please feel free to join us in the chat, introduce yourself, let us know where you're coming from, see who else is joining us on the call. We have partners all over the country, and it's always nice to know when we have folks from the same state or same areas. Just to let y'all know about the agenda, of course, welcome. We're happy you're here. We'll be hearing from Allison Reese, like I said, from Tackle Hunger. And always feel free to pop in the chat with questions as we go through the presentation. I know we have some of our Swipe team members here that can answer questions specific to Swipe Out Hunger, but also Allison has her team on the chat. And they'll be able to answer questions throughout the presentation, share links, things like that. We are recording today, so don't feel like if you miss anything, you can't see it again. We'll send out the recording after today's call. And also important links that you might need, we'll send those out so you can share it with your folks back at your school as well. Q&A opportunity. If you want to come off chat at that point, come off and share your video. We'll have an opportunity for that for great questions. And then we'll close with what's next at Swipe. This is our last Swipe session of 2024. It's crazy to say that. But we have more planned when we return in the spring for 2025. So we'll make sure to catch y'all up with what to expect from us at that point. So what we've all been waiting for. Allison is here, and look at that cute photo. I'm hoping Allison will share who's in the photo with her. But to talk a little bit about scalable fundraising ideas for pantries from Tackle Hunger and her expertise working with pantries all over the country. So I'm going to pass it off to Allison right now.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I'm going to share my screen now. And yes, that cutie is my puppy dog. Her name is Mercedes Portia, and she kind of goes with me everywhere pretty much. So she is a Tackle Hunger dog. She even has a little shirt that she can put on, especially during Super Bowl carrying time frame, which I will tell you more about here in a second if you don't know about it. And of course, I live in Texas, in the Austin area, but our work is nationwide. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about our work. I'll let you know a little bit about me just briefly. One of the things that I've been working on recently, and you'll see some of the data in the work that that our organization Tackle Hunger does. But I have been very involved with a program called Aim Ahead, funded by the National Institute of Health, and was a leadership fellowship in artificial intelligence and machine learning, which is kind of odd for a nonprofit leader who runs an organization that helps food charities. But I'll tell you a whole lot more about that here in a minute. So stay tuned. That being said, today, I'm here to really talk more about scalable fundraising. And so I'm going to give you a lot of tangible things to think about. And then do know, I'm going to go pretty quick through it. But if you want us to help you on a very specific, customized way, literally we'll help you write a blueprint on how to tackle hunger all year round, how to fundraise with annual programs, make it easy for yourself. We're happy to do that. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go through this. I know a lot of your college pantries, just like school K-12 schools, are being run by people who have lots of jobs. I just was looking in your chat, and you have lots of hats. So you certainly don't have a whole lot of time for fundraising. That's where we can help you. So that being said, you can see right here, myths about tackling hunger. That people aren't interested in helping, that it's not a cool thing to do. Well, we beg to differ. We've had over 300,000 groups participating in our programs. There's one set right there who were standing outside of a grocery store. They're collecting food. Filling pantries is boring. Nope, not at all. Not only that, but we partner with other organizations that help food charities with the other resources you need, because we just literally finished with a quick survey of some of our pantries, and we asked them, what are you fundraising for? Is it just for food? And only 27% of them said it was just food. Most of them want to fundraise for clothes, for coats, for utility bills, for toys. Those are all critical resources. And so we kind of changed our kind of mentality about that we want to help food charities provide the critical resources they need to make sure no one goes without soup in their bowl. So that's kind of what we do. Again, we unite communities to tackle hunger. That is our mission. We've been doing this for 35 years. Next year will be our 35th anniversary. And our programs are used to help local food charities, always had, and 100% stays with you. So you design and execute your campaign, 100% comes right back to you. We work with great organizations like Toys for Tots, like the dairy councils across our country, and One Kind Act a Day, which if you don't know about them and their cool work, you should check them out. And then of course we work with a lot of NFL teams, and our NFL alumni are a big friend of ours as well. Our signature campaign of the year is what we kind of started with, and literally that's still our formal name, is the Super Bowl of Caring. And so that being said, I'm going to talk a lot about that because that's what's coming up. And once again, it's annual, which means you design this campaign one time and then you just rinse and repeat, adding a little bit each year. And it makes it a whole lot simpler for you. And then you can design other events that kind of fall with that are similar. So what is Super Bowl of Caring? I'm going to show you this quick video because I think it really, and I'm going to tell you why it's so important. It's a little bit quiet, so definitely turn up your volume.
Underway. This one's spelled a little different.
Oh, yes, it sure is. Soup. We don't have to wait until Sunday for this one, though efforts to tackle hunger are happening at Westview Elementary this morning. Parent volunteer Michelle Cuban joins us live. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Oh, it's great to see you all out there filling buses full of donations from your generous families. Tell us about the challenge that's been going on at your school.
Sure. This is one of our 4 school-wide service projects. It's our biggest one to date, actually. Last year, we were able to collect over 40,000 items to fill HISD food pantries. This year, on our 4th day, we'd already collected over 50,000 items. By 8 a.m., our bus was already full. This is our winningest class, Ms. Vistein's class, 3rd grade, dropping off their food right now. And all the food goes to stock the 75 HISD food pantries. This is what it means when a community school can come together.
And look how excited they all are. Oh, what a wonderful lesson to teach all of those children there about giving back to the community. And you said, Michelle, 35,000 items and counting is what you guys have been able to collect there?
Awesome. Over 50,000.
Oh, now 50,000. Wow.
That is incredible. Now, are the kids getting excited about the big game, too? Any predictions going on out there? Are they mostly talking food this morning?
You put it right here. I'll get it from you.
We're talking food. We've got our internal kind of school competitions going on, and we are bringing our best game.
So you said this food's all going to go to help other students in the district, food pantries all across HISD and the city?
Exactly. There are 75 HISD school food pantries, and this food will stock all those food pantries so students can take home meals for their families each and every day as they need. And we are so proud as a school community to be able to be this for our fellow Houstonians.
It is great to see again. We're loving to see the enthusiasm. Thanks for taking time to show us what's happening there today. Keep up the good work.
Yes, Westview, way to go.
Yeah.
And you can help and take part all through the big game on Super Bowl Sunday. Just think if every single person watching the game donated 1 can.
Yeah, make a big difference.
Yeah.
Any way you want to help, you can go to fox26houston.com. We have it all listed there. We want to make our Houston food banks the big winner this Super Bowl Sunday.
Okay, so what you just saw there was a video about a school doing a food drive, and that school does it every year, and each year they they compete against themselves. This past year, they raised 110,000 pounds of food. But what you noticed about that video is there was not one representative from the food pantry there. That was the school and the organizers, meaning the PTA. That mom was a PTA member who was talking about the charity and what they were doing. That's what you want. You want your community, your support network to be so excited about what they're doing that they want to share it. And literally that PTA got them on TV. It wasn't the HISD food pantry program. But incidentally, we actually helped the HISD start their food pantry program. And to date, they have now close to 85 pantries. And Super Bowl at Curing is one of the main ways that they sustain those pantries year over year. So again, this was started 35 years ago, actually started in a church with a prayer. Help us be mindful of those without a bowl of soup to eat. So it's play on words. And ever since then, we have been engaging groups across the country. Like I said, 300,000 of them over the past 35 years, to the tune of we'll hit 200 million in impact in January. That being said, during that event, we asked, what if everybody watching this game just gave $1 or a can of food? Really simple. Simple yet significant. And you understand, because you guys are all working with the food pantries, what a significant impact that would be. And these are the kind of groups that we work with. You can engage all of these groups, and I'm going to tell you more about that here in a minute. But when people are donating locally and send it straight to the local community and the local charity, that's when you create your support network. And that's what Super Bowl of Caring is all about, is engaging at least once a year with the groups around you, your neighboring groups, to participate in an event to support you. You can even make it fun and competitive. And then once they do that once a year, they see it's fun and easy, then they start doing it more. And now all of a sudden, you have a support network that you can really count on when you have specific needs. Why does it matter? Well, you can already see how it matters. But this is a great example. This was a church this past year who had never done Super Bowl of Caring before, and they were very small church. You thought, oh, they don't really have the resources to do a whole lot. But that church pastor said, I'm going to take my 2 youth members. See, those 2 girls are the only youth in their church. Said, hey, will you help me? Will you help engage the church? Will you help excite them to participate this year? They went over to the soup kitchen and found out that they needed a cooker. Their cooker was broken. It was in need of repair. And they said, well, how much is it going to cost to repair it? And the soup kitchen director said, well, it's going to be about $6,000 from what we understand. And the girls there were like, I don't know if we can raise that much. That's an awful lot. Pastor said, just tell people what the need is and let's see what happens. Well, they raised the $6,000. Everybody was so excited about that, right? First time out of the gate, they made that goal. Well, then they find out the next day that 6,000 wasn't enough, that it was going to have to be replaced, that cooker. Pastor said, let's go back to the congregation. And lo and behold, when they asked, they got the amount that was needed. Once that church community understood the need and how important it was, they stepped up and helped support that need. And that's why our work really matters, because you're developing those relationships. This relationship would never have been built if it wasn't for Super Bowl of Caring. So here's another little example, really quick.
How much have things changed in the 10 years we've done the Super Bowl of Caring? What have you seen in changes at the food bank, aside from obviously these physical problems?
This is an answer that probably is a little bit more different than you would have expected. But the thing that I have seen most and that I am happy about is awareness. People are becoming very aware and very in tune for the fact that people around them are hungry. We're talking about how to recognize a problem. You can't fix a problem if you don't see it. You can't be part of the solution if you don't understand it. And the Super Bowl Day of Caring has done just that. We're teaching, we're educating, and people are responding.
So again, that awareness is so incredibly important. And a lot of times we forget about that because we think everybody knows what we're up to, right? This is like what we do every day, but that doesn't mean other people don't know. And that's one of the reasons Swipe Out Hunger exists, is to help the greater community understand the great need on college campuses. But they can't do it alone. You also, in your own little community, in your own little bubble around your university, can make those needs known. And I'm going to show you some ways to do that. So now I'm going to start talking a little bit more in depth about the fundraising piece, because that's what you're all here for. So we have a lot of different options, but we have programs. Literally, you can go to our website, and on our website, there's all sorts of information, all sorts of resources that you can literally download. You can customize them in Canva. You can make them your own, taking our programs and using them to your benefit. Once again, all we ask you to do is to report your totals to us. You say, hey, we're, Bowling Green State University food pantry, and we're doing Super Bowl of carrying, and we raised, $25,000 or 25,000 pounds of food. And, that's all you have to do for us. That's all we care about, is for you to report to us what you did. And it's your network, it's your community. So use these programs to your benefit. That's what they're here for, year round. You can use the same concept of, what if everybody watching this game or this event or whatever it is just gave $1 or a can of food? That's all that it takes, really. So this is an example right here of a football game. And one of the things that U of H always does is they say, you bring 5 cans, we'll give you a voucher for $10 off for you to come to another athletic event. So they put some incentive in there, but you can do it for a football game. They have great, a great success at using basketball, and it doesn't really matter. Just that idea. What if everybody coming in those doors gave just $1 or 1 can of food? Again, this, another great thing for the fall, and we're almost out of that, but you've also got tailgating at a lot of different of your college events. And you get a lot of your alumni coming back to home games who care about your college, right? And so can you leverage that? Well, sure. Go out to those alumni Greek organizations who are hosting those tailgates and ask them if they will help your charity, your food pantry, and make it an entry fee. In every different home game, it's a different entry fee. So one month or one game, it could be peanut butter. The next one might be mac and cheese, whatever it is. All you have to do is supply some boxes. They fill it up. And then when the game starts, you get a volunteer to go around, pick up that food product, take it over to the pantry, and you're done. And then once you get that started, once again, the whole idea is that the next year, those alumni organizations come to you and say, okay, we're planning our home game tailgates. What do you need? So now you don't have to do a lot of work. Once you get it started, then you just kind of rinse and repeat. It's an excellent means to getting some of that basic needs, some of those basic products that you need all the time. And again, you've got a support network. If you have a specific need, that is great. You can share it with them and say, hey, I don't know if you can do anything about this, but if you can, we're having this specific problem, and maybe you can help. And, a lot of times you'll be really surprised at how many will actually say, yeah, we can help you with that. We're going to reach out to our members and see if we can raise some money, raise some product for you. We also have the ability, we have a new feature on our programs. It's called the Tackle Hunger Map, and many of you may already know about it, but it's you can go to our website and see it. But our Tackle Hunger Map shows you where food charities are. And this map is not just about kind of a food pantry finder. That's not what it was initially meant to be. It was initially meant to be a place where all food charities are, that you can see what they need and you can donate directly to them through the map. So it's one place where people can go and see where food charities are around them. So for especially our faith-based groups, we really encourage them all to find where their local food charities are and help them in whatever way that is. Just help them. however they can. And so that is for all of you, you've got churches and faith-based groups all around you. That's a great place to go and talk to them and see if they can help you in whatever way, right? They can. But our map helps clients find food. We've got a lot of K-12 schools that actually put the map on a QR code and share it with families who need to find where they can go to get help. But it helps volunteers. A lot of kids and college students need to volunteer for their clubs. They can go to this map and find out where charities are that they can volunteer at. And again, the donors can know right where they can donate, and they can do it directly through our map. And then the other cool thing that I was talking to you at the beginning of this was that I am working with researchers now who are supporting more equitable distribution of resources for better health outcomes. So we're embedding this data set in with other sets of data to really understand healthy food access and lack thereof, so that practical and actionable solutions can take place. And we believe, it is our experience, is that solutions are typically going to be local, at least a big chunk of them. Local action has to take place, just like you're doing on your college campuses. And with our Tackle Hunger map, we also have the ability to create direct donate pages for food charities, especially charities that are both in K-12 schools and colleges, where you've got kind of a convoluted way of fundraising, if at all. Sometimes our K-12 schools, obviously the money, you get money in for a food pantry, well, it goes into this general fund. You have no idea that it was meant for your food pantry, and now it's not going to be used on that. Well, if you're using our map, you can either have the money directly donated into a bank account, but most of our schools don't want that. They want the check that they can then know that it's there, and they can get it deposited where it can be directly used to support their food pantry. The way our map works is a donation comes in to us, and then within 30 days, we send it out to the designated charity if they haven't set it up to where the money flows directly to their bank account. There is no fee for our charities except for a small processing fee, which is credit card fees, right? This is how it works. The food charities, if you're on the map, you get a periodic every 3-week email that just says, hey, what's your level of need? You can report it. You just click that button and it automatically sends that information to our map. If you're not on the map, it's okay. You can add yourself onto the map. You just go to the map. There's a button that says contact. And under there, you can add your details, and then we'll get you on the map. The other cool thing that we're doing right now, I was telling you that one of our partners is our dairy councils. Well, during this season, undeniably dairy and many dairy councils, not all of them, in the US are teaming up with us to make any donation that comes through the map in certain regions. And you'll know if you're in that region because you'll see that undeniably dairy at the top of the map. All of those monies are going to go to be designated for dairy purchase for your charity. So we want to emphasize healthy living, and healthy dairy products are very important to families in need. And what we know is that it's the #1 most requested item for families in food charities is milk. And #2, that the average family gets the equivalent of about a gallon of milk a year from food charities. I saw another statistic that said 1 in 6 Americans have used a food charity in the last year. Again, I was just kind of going through that. If you're interested in connecting with your local dairy council and you haven't, let us know and we'll help you do that. The dairy councils have a specific interest in helping our food pantries, and especially our food pantries that are working with students. So definitely, if you're interested in getting some help, let us know. We'll connect you to the dairy council that we work with. They all are very interested in making sure that our food charities have the dairy products that they need in order for families to lead healthy lives. That is our theme for the year this year for Super Bowl of Caring. And this is actually the front of our what we call playbook. You can find this at our website, tacklehunger.org, in the resource section. I'll give you that link towards the end here. But this is the front of that, and that's actually that school that you just saw in that video. Honestly, they got to make the front of the playbook this year. But our key messaging is really helping people to understand that when you want to design a food drive or a campaign to support a food charity, you shouldn't just kind of have a mindset of let's all clean out our pantry for the food charity, but let's think about what we really want to feed our family and what our food charities want to provide to their clients. So let's think healthy, and healthy meals lead to happy hearts. I was reading another statistic that health disparities cost our country $160 billion a year. And with our lower income families, it's so much harder for them to access the appropriate kind of food that can lead to better health outcomes. So that's definitely one of the things we are trying to emphasize more this year. And again, we work with groups all across the country, thousands of them every year. And then we also work with partners like our friends at Toys for Tots, who also want to support local food charities and providing the critical resources that are that you need. The other one we work with, One Warm Coat, they also have a national endeavor. So if you're in need of coats, you might look them up because they have programs across the country, and you can sign up to be a beneficiary from their programs, just like you can with Toys for Tots. So we obviously unite communities to tackle hunger. We're out there recruiting to help your food charity get the products and the critical resources that you need. And so we put together some best practices that I kind of want to run through to help you understand a little better some of these scalable ideas. And these are based on, for me, I've been the executive director since 18. Before that, I've been working on the board for Super Bowl of Caring since 11. And before that, I was working in Texas as kind of a leader in some fundraising. So I've been doing this for a long time and been working with a lot of groups over the years. So these are top best practices. Certainly, we've got a lot more, and certainly we can customize these. So I'm going to give you the high level. If you want to talk more specifics and need some help because you're busy with like 10 hats on and you need help kind of putting something together, we're here for you. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that as well. But again, one of the biggest things, think about the important sporting events that you have in your community. That is for your school. You have little rivalries that are far, removed from just a college bowl game. That you can use as a catalyst to fundraise for your charity. Here's some good examples. This one picture over here is a group that asked literally at halftime, hey, did you know that 30% of our students need the food pantry? Did you know $1 can create 3 meals? So if everybody in this stadium just gave $1, we could create this many meals. And oh, by the way, we got this bank down the street to match up to $500. So now your dollar is worth even more. They walked around and collected over $1,000 in 10 minutes. So that's just another example of simple, but you're using the opportunity that presents itself to you. This other picture is using some of our NFL alumni. You've got NFL alumni that went to your college probably. Go utilize those people to help build excitement, build your own alumni. You've got celebrities, athletes from your university. Use them to help encourage people to tackle hunger with you. All right, so here, pick 3 or 4 events throughout the year, starting with the big game. Again, our idea is that Super Bowl of Caring be a means for you to have a support network. That's a launching point. So you go out there to your local churches, you go out there to your local businesses that are around you and say, hey, we're going to do this cool event this one time, and we would love for you to participate. And we'll talk a little bit about that competitiveness, but you just say, we want you to participate. You can put out a box at your store, offer a discount, whatever it is, but we want you to participate this year. Do you mind doing that? And that's one time, just once a year. But once you get them to do it, and then you get them to do it a second year, then you can start saying, hey, now that you're doing that, what about doing it in August when the students are coming back to campus and we need to fill the pantry? What if we do it at the holidays? Would you mind doing that? So now you start building in several events that you can literally, like I said, rinse and repeat. Think about it that way. You can see here, this is an example, bring canned goods, free admission to the boys basketball game. This other one, this is one where this particular Utah rugby team, for every tackle, they gave $1 to us, but you could emulate that. For every tackle, get a local bank to sponsor that. And every time a tackle happens or anytime, whatever, it could be, a home run, they give you something and then you publicly acknowledge that they're doing that. And that's all they care about. They want their marketing dollars to go to something good. And I will tell you, every bank has money that they have to spend on philanthropy. So make sure it's you. Another thing here, you can customize, your Super Bowl of Caring event. You can organize it with our materials. This is a picture of our website at our resource page. And then you can create these simple flyers, posters that you can utilize. And you notice right here, this is a great example. Here's food that you want. This is products that you want right there in that picture. This is stuff we want. And we want you to donate at the gate before the game. And if you donate, you're going to get a $10 ticket voucher. Boom. And then you notice there's a credit union. That means that credit union actually was supporting that program as well. So they made a donation. Easy, right? You do that once, 3 or 4 times a year. Now you've got something that you can count on that's going to be coming in. Another one, again, as it relates to Super Bowl of Caring, think about you bring in all of these groups and you have a little competition, right? As a carrot. It doesn't have to be anything big. It can literally just be bragging rights. You see right here, this is a homemade poster and they've got the winner, right? That's something that you can post in a common area between your clubs. Make it a rivalry almost, to where now it's not just about who you think is going to win the Super Bowl. You could use it Super Bowl or you could use any game, but it's also a means to encourage that kind of participation and a little bit of fun competition that really does engage your community. Use it for good. What if everybody gave $1? Okay, well now, like there's this wrestling belt down here. This is kind of a fun story. It's a group of churches who all participate in Super Bowl of Caring, and they all collect for whatever charity they want because they're all in different parts of Texas. And then at the end of the campaign, they report their totals and they divide it by the number of members of their church and for a per capita donation. And then the winning church gets this particular wrestling belt because they call it a Super Bowl Smackdown. And the pastor wears it over his cassock on the Sunday after the Super Bowl. And that is a big deal. They get to have that all year round. But see, they had to pay for it one time. And now it's just a matter of adding that little plate on it that says who won each year. I think they're up to about 7 or 8 years now. It's pretty fun. Okay, so start with groups that are already working with you and then get them to help you recruit others, right? So even better, get those corporate sponsors. But those that participate, you want to make sure that that they are telling the story about how much fun it is to participate in this. Fundraising can be fun, that competitive spirit, but it's also about doing good and helping support your students in need. And these are some good examples right here. This one is a whole month where they're supporting. And then this one over here, you notice on this one, they've got pre-event donations. So they've got an event the day before the Super Bowl, in this case. And then they had pre-events where you could drop off donations. And then they actually had the event itself where they wanted people to show up at this grocery store to make donations. And then they had a wish list. Kind of easy. Once again, there are likely 3 to 6 churches around your campus who should know what you're doing. And if they don't know, they need to know. And all you need to tell them is, hey, we're here. This is who we're serving. This is how many we're serving. And we would love for you to help us in whatever way you can. And they may say, well, we're already overwhelmed. We don't know much. Okay, we've got this one event. We'd love for you to try, if you don't mind. And if we have a need that's an emergency need, could we put you on a list that we can email you and let you know about it? There's usually a positive response to that, almost always. And then there's other ways that the church could help you, right? Think about it that a faith-based organization is basically used once a week, and they have a lot of space typically. All right. So a lot of you might have storage issues, right? You may have a donation that could come to you, but you have no place to store some of the product. Well, there's somebody you can ask. They typically have rooms that are just sitting there empty. And that's a way that even if they can't do a whole lot of heavy lifting and fundraising for you, maybe even beyond a Super Bowl of caring, maybe that could be a way that they could give you some support. Okay, so just think about how if you can communicate, and we actually have email templates that we can help you write communication and help with those kind of conversations, help you feel more comfortable with that if that is not your strong suit. Because again, we realize that you guys are not there to be a development person for a food pantry. You've got a lot of other jobs. Other events you can organize, or you can get a group to organize where it's a soup event, right? You know, old and new supporters of your group, you can do an event, and they don't all have to be the same thing. Churches love this event, and the reason is because it's on Sunday. It's on Super Bowl Sunday, and it can benefit any group that they want to help. So once you get them to start doing this, they like doing it because it actually gets people excited to be at church, and they'll actually come. Some people think that Super Bowl is actually like a holiday, like the whole day, and so they won't really you know, come to church, even though the Super Bowl isn't till 5:30 at night or 6:30. So that being said, it's a great way to get them there. And they do soup suppers. And we have a partnership right now with the Mom 100, Katie Workman. She's really popular, especially with our mom crowd, but a lot of others as well who like to cook. And she's developed some recipes that can be made as large a quantity as you want. And soup sales are a very popular way of raising funds. Another great thing, and I'm literally going as fast as I can, so do realize we can talk further if you want. But think about this as well. Once you get that support network, once you get groups excited to help you in what you're doing, thank them publicly as much as you can. Notice this picture right here. These are some friends of mine in Dallas at a pantry. When donations are dropped off, they literally take the people who drop them off and they hand them these two signs, and they take a picture, and then they post it on their social media, and they thank them. But look right here, I hosted a food drive, you should too. It's a call to action, and they're using their ability to thank the groups that are already helping them to encourage other people to do it. So it's just a mindset of thinking about simple things you can do. They invested what, $50 on two signs, and then they use them over and over and over. But it's a simple means to try to encourage that home team to recruit other groups to participate as well. Again, be specific about what you need. Going back to that original story about the soup kitchen and their cooker, people like to give to specific needs, okay? Very specific. And look at this particular post here. They literally say, go to Dollar Tree, we want this size shampoo and conditioner. All right, so they're specifically saying this was what we need. At the church I go to, we have a partnership with a local food charity, and the charity had a farmer that said, we have all these extra eggs, we're going to give them to you, but now they've got a second problem. They need to clean the eggs, but they also need egg cartons. What did they do? They came to the church and said, hey, we need egg cartons, can you help us? Literally, they put that in the bulletin, and now they've never had a problem since, and they've been having that farmer project for over 2 years. All right, it's really a mindset to think about, hey, I didn't think about that, but this is something that's so simple, yet a lot of people don't think about it. But if I say, hey, I'm going to do a food drive and I want you to bring food in, and here's our wish list, by the way, maybe you just do that, but it's a long wish list. What if you said, hey, we're doing a food drive and we're doing oatmeal versus cereal? Bringing your favorite. We're trying to drive up the numbers. We're competing. Who can bring in more cereal or oatmeal, whatever it is. Be specific about that. I had a college food pantry who was in need of feminine hygiene products, and they put that out there to their support network and said, look, here's what our challenge is. And we've got all of these needs, but it's specifically these feminine hygiene products cost us a lot of money. Will you help us try to fundraise for that? Absolutely. Now everybody who is hearing that message goes to the store and says, I need to pick up some tampons or whatever for the food charity, and they're going to bring that in. A lot of times people don't think about it if you just are general. If you're specific, they're definitely going to have a specific response. Same thing here. This is a bonus. If you want to do an event after your Super Bowl of Caring or after all of it, like you do separate events throughout the year. And then come, end of the school year, let's say in April, you have a little luncheon to thank them. You can get corporate sponsors for that. They can pay a little money to have their name on this card. And then this is where you acknowledge those groups who were the winners of your different campaigns. Again, this is a way to acknowledge that, but it's also another means to fundraise. So just something to think about. And again, keep tally of the campaigns and who participates so that you can have them go right back to them next year and say, hey, will you do this again? We had so much fun last year. This is what we're going to do a little different. And hey, by the way, can you bring in some others? We've got charities that are completely run by volunteers, okay? Completely run by volunteers who have 20 to 30 groups competing in their Super Bowl of Caring every year. They didn't start with that. They started with probably 5, but every year they get a little bit more. And they get a few more who want to participate, who found that it was cool, who heard about it through the grapevine, and they wanted to be a part of that fun. This particular example right here is taking advantage of their location. They had a location that was nearby to a lot of activity in the community. And so they had a tailgate on the day before the Super Bowl. And they had food and games and somebody who played music. And the admission was free if you donated products. They even got an NFL alumni. We can help you a lot of times with finding some of that talent if you don't have that with your university, which I'm sure you do. And then again, in this particular case, make sure that you make it as public as you can. So when you have groups who are participating in Super Bowl of Caring, you're letting them know, the community, hey, the pantry at our university had 12 competing groups in the Super Bowl of Caring, and this year X won. Well, you know that somebody's going to be reading that who doesn't is connected with one of those groups that participated, who's going to say, I want to do it next year. But being public as much as you can, just is another easy way for you to get some acknowledgement to those that you appreciate what they're doing. And then make sure to keep it simple and share the significance of what they're doing to help you, and that they can be counted on when a need arises. Again, what you want is a list of about 10, 15 different groups that, let's say all of a sudden, you're at the end of the semester and you need mac and cheese. You are out completely, and you need that because that's what people count on. You can go to one email, shoot an email to your support network and say, we are in desperate need of mac and cheese. Can you help? And you can guarantee that at least one of those is going to say, yeah, we'll put it out there on social media. We'll see what happens. And then after that week, you end up with your need being met. If you put it out there, they're going to respond. If you notice this particular example, they talk about the impact of a $20 donation that allows their food pantry to purchase about 8 times that food. So they really are being clear about the significance of the donations that are coming into their food charity. Other ideas to think about is things like Dollars for Dairy. We've already talked about the map being used for that, but you can do your own. Hey, donate $1. Every dollar is going to be put to help us buy dairy products for the families that come to our food pantry. We want to make sure we have dairy and healthy foods for them. So donate your dollars, and that's where it's going to go to. The more specific, the more you're going to get. And then virtual food drives, of course, you can do. There's a couple partners that we work with, You Give Goods and Benevolist. We've got some examples and some information about that in our resources if you're interested in those two opportunities. And then tie your fundraising to volunteering. So a good example is at Westview Elementary School. What they do is their older kids participate in this campaign, and then they get to go help pack snack bags for the super pantry. So it ties in the significance of, hey, you know, we want you to participate, but we want you to come over and help us too, if you have that interest. And so it's a deal for groups, and especially school groups who want to be in participate potentially. And then don't forget to tell your story. Okay, get the media to help you. Almost always you can find somebody who wants to tell that story. Super Bowl is a great time for that. And this particular, and I don't know, I guess we have a minute to show this because I'm right at the end. Is that good? Okay, so I'm going to share this one. This really tells you, this is specifically about a food pantry in, let's see, in Houston. Let's see if the video is right there. It should be right there. Okay, just a little slow. My apologies. That is not what I wanted. There we go.
More than
Sorry
100 million people are expected to watch the big game, but there's another Super Bowl happening that encourages fans to get off the bench.
Yeah, the annual Super Bowl of Caring event. It encourages fans to help the local food pantries. So Chelsea Edwards is going to take us to one of them over at U of H students who are helping as well.
Some students, they haven't had anywhere else to turn.
Less stress and comfort in a can. You can find the difference the Cougar Cupboard Food Pantry is making right on the door.
We do have some students who may identify as LGBTQ. When they come out, their parents unfortunately kick them out of the house.
University of Houston student success coach Laura Lee opened the pantry in 2017 after feeding students out of her own pocket.
Financial aid doesn't cover everything. So I like for students to think about this as a resource. You can offset your cost by $100, $200 a month.
It's one of 2 pantries on the U of H campus where students can get free food every other week.
I have the microwavable like macaroni.
Gary, a senior, has used it since he was a freshman to help him and his mom at home.
She loves it. It's fun. Sometimes she'll specifically even tell me about like, oh, you need to go get like certain things if we're low on, like maybe we're low on laundry detergent.
After scheduling an appointment, he can come in and shop using a point system to budget for things like snacks and hygiene products.
But these are also just worth 5 points, and you just can't go over 20 points per week.
The Cougar Cupboard is a part of a network of pantries that benefit from the Super Bowl of Caring, where people turn their celebrations of the big game into giving back. Tackle Hunger is using the annual drive to fund a chunk of 15 million meals the organization will provide across the country this year.
This one?
While word of mouth about this pantry has more students getting vocal about needing help.
2021, we had 160 visits. 2022, we had 680.
Because of the Cougar Cupboard, they say they're better able to focus on their studies.
One less thing to think about for the students means a lot.
With the goal of graduating from shopping to supplying what the next round of future graduates may need someday. At the University of Houston, Chelsea Edwards, Fox 26 News.
So once again, just a great example of how you can use the media to help you tell these stories. Oh, sorry.
It's okay, Allison. We've all had YouTube issues before.
That is crazy. All right, my apologies. Okay. So that being said, we're pretty much at the end here. I am going to show you, here's the resource pages that you can find. And then of course, information if you are interested in working with us directly to help you like customize things that you don't have time to do. We're certainly here to help you. We've got some services that we can provide with that. So just go to our website and look up our Tackle Hunger Network, and you can learn more about that. And again, this is one of the things, the mantras I really live by. What good things could happen if you truly got to know the people in your neighborhood and they got to know you. You can really get your needs supported, and it's so incredibly important. So here's my information, tacklehunger.org. You can find me at Allison, Alison, with one L, at tacklehunger.org. And you can also go to our website and you can find contact us there. But all sorts of information that you could use. But like Candace said, it is all recorded so you can go back and look at it. Use these ideas for your own, and come up with some ideas that will really be annual that you can then utilize year after year. Make it easy for yourself. Thanks for your time. I appreciate having the opportunity to talk to your network here, Candace.
Thank you so much, Allison. And I appreciate all the many ideas. I see some great responses coming through here on the emoji. Feel free to give Allison a round of applause for all the information that was just shared. Allison, Michaela has done a great job of answering questions in the chat and helping us with the Q&A. So we don't have any unanswered questions, but just I kind of want to quickly recap some of the things that I heard about quick actions that folks can take next. One is the Super Bowl's just around the corner when we come back from the holiday, and I think it's a good way for us to amplify that energy that people have, the excitement that you've shared that we know folks have around the Super Bowl, and think of how you could maybe do a food drive with Super Bowl of Caring. That sounds like one big takeaway as an opportunity, right? Okay. And also the map. I saw some interest in the chat too about getting on the map. I had no idea you had the heat map element of it, of the green to gold. That is so helpful. So I hope folks explore that. And then the emails to reach out, because if y'all can help them come up with year-round plans, is that something that you've done with college pantries before?
Yes, we absolutely have. And we give them kind of that template that then they can go use. And we even give them emails that have worked to go out to those local community businesses and churches and whatnot and ask for their help. Again, kind of a little bit of coaching to make it easy for yourself, especially because a lot of us, that's not our forte. That's not really what we want to do. We don't like no's. So we've got it to where it almost is pretty easy for them to say yes.
I love to hear that. I think we've reiterated this throughout the call, but you've hit the nail on the head that a lot of folks that are joining us today, maybe you didn't set out to run a campus food pantry. And if that wasn't the case, you definitely didn't set out to fundraise for one. So to hear that you'll offer email templates, that right there is a resource that can't be beat. So I hope folks reach out, and thank you so much for joining us and sharing all of your expertise today.
Absolutely. Thank you. And absolutely let us know how we can help you.
Thank you, Allison. And before everyone runs off on us, I just have a couple things that I want to make sure that we highlight. So let me just pull up my screen really fast. Like I said, we're already at the end of the year, but don't worry, we're still going to be around when we come back in the spring. Let's see here. One moment, y'all. Sorry. So if you haven't already, join us on Slack. Today, after today's call, we'll have a post with thread from this conversation where you can ask questions. I saw a lot of features from the University of Houston. I know they're on Slack, they're part of our network, and maybe we can prod them with some Q&A on what their experience has been. But if you haven't already, join us on Slack. It's a great opportunity to connect with network partners, ask questions, and you can reach out to anyone on the team directly and get pretty quick responses there. So we love that. Also, we want to, of course, know how we did today, get your feedback, and then improve on content that we share in the future if there's anything that you'd like to hear topics on. So if you already have it, the QR code's queued up there, and we're happy to have your feedback. That's really helpful for us. And then when we come back in January, typically our swipe sessions are the second week of the month, but we know we're going to be just after the new year. And if you're not back from winter break yet, it could be kind of a tight turnaround. So we're going to bump our January swipe session just a little bit later in the month. But join us on January 21st, where we'll be talking dollars and cents, a special presentation from our leadership and some folks in our network about how to talk to your administrators. In addition, really great content for administrators about things to consider that help and why you should share the budget information for basic needs work and why it's important for the basic needs folks on your campus to have budget. So if y'all have someone on your campus that could benefit from that chat, let's make sure that they get registered also. And then in case you weren't sure, the student survey is still live and will be going into the spring. The top 5 schools with the highest percentage of student participation will receive a $500 micro grant for your programming. So we'd love for you to make sure that you're sharing the student survey in your spaces or with your students. We have outreach materials. Again, we'll share this after the call so you can access them with an email template if you can send it out to students. But also here's an example of the flyer that you can post in your pantry for folks to go ahead and jump in and take the survey. And if you're a student on the call right now, you can use the QR code on the screen and take the survey right now. So that's a good plus. And last thing, if you're someone new and this is your first time hearing about Swipe Out Hunger, and you joined us because you knew about Tackle Hunger, thank you for being here. And if you're interested in learning more about how to join our network of campus pantries and food security workers, there's links here and an email address, programs@swipeouthunger. Thank y'all so much. 1 minute early. I hope y'all have a wonderful holiday season, and we look forward to seeing you in January.
Thank you, Candace.
Thanks, Allison.